It is time to overreact, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. And the way this season's gone, Shawn with a W, maybe it's just time to properly react to what this basketball team continues to tell us. And it's that no matter who's out, no matter what bad news you get before the game, no matter what happens, they're not out of it. And my goodness, what a win in Golden State on Monday night against a team that was allegedly light years ahead. Shawn with W. Uh, he's here and I'm here. GMAC. We're recapping the Knicks game, as I have already mentioned, a victory over the Golden State Warriors, 119 to 112. A lot to talk about on this game, a lot to break down. First of all, Shawn, I don't even think I need to ask this, but how are the vibes, my friend?
The vibes are what's the word I'm thinking of here? The vibes are fighting because this team, to quote one Jonathan Macri, this fucking team. We how many times? Listen, this team has been down 3 starters since Championship Sunday. And I said it on Casual Friday a few weeks ago. The fact that the NBA, the Eastern Conference, has let this team hang around in 4th place for this long, they have completely lost the plot. They have fucked up. They have screwed up. But you know what? There is we always hear never say die, don't never say quit attitude, but like this team, every single day, there's no excuses. They show up, they play. I mean, Jalen said it in the pregame. He said, "Listen, man, whatever." I forget the exact phrase that he used,
Next
but he
man
basically
up.
says,
That's what he said. Next man up.
next man up." Like, listen, Josh Hart, you are playing every single minute of this game. Deuce McBride, you are playing every single minute of this game except for one. Like, what else can you say? If you are still looking for a reason to nitpick this team, if you're still looking for reasons to doubt this team, I mean, what can you say against the Golden State Warriors in the house that Curry built, with Deuce McBride chasing Steph Curry around screens all day, and we scored 119 points. Like,
What else can you say? Like you
what
said,
else can you say?
this is a team you can be proud of. This is a team that you can enjoy no matter who's playing. Like even the Sims minutes that we had to survive. You know what? It's part of the fabric of this team, having to survive the Sims minutes. Whether some Pistons get put in the game, well, we survive them. It's a party. That's how we're going to treat this post game. This is a party. The Knicks are now 3-0 on this road trip. And you know what I love to do at parties, Shawn?
What do you like to do at parties?
I love to invite as many people as possible. And so joining us for this post game party, the one and only John Macri, whose screen is kind of frozen, but hopefully you can see him and hear him. John, I believe we have a basketball team that you are excited about that you needed to get on the post game. How are the vibes for you, Mr. Macri, if your internet connection allows you to say it?
Well, first of all, am I unfrozen or can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. You're not unfrozen though, so we'll go with the hearing at the moment.
Okay, great. Well then I'll be brief. I had to hop on here for this. I don't know when the first time that I uttered the words "this fucking team" was. Probably a couple years back. Shawn probably remembers, but this was as this fucking team a performance as this fucking team has given us all season long, and honestly, I'm not sure. I feel like the Knicks are rolling, and it happened last year when we get to this place where it's like, well, that's the best win of the season. No, now that's the best win of the season. Oh, wait a minute, hold on, that's the best win of the season, and we're here, at that place where I am overcome by how much that this was not Jalen Brunson putting this team on his back. This was not just like one or two guys having a career night. This was an organizational win where you are missing a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA player. You are missing a guy who you traded your 2 key young cogs to go get, and you're about to pay, somewhere upwards of $200 million this summer. And you're missing your starting center, by the way, your former starting center, who was in the defensive player of the year conversation at the beginning of the year. And it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because you have all of these other guys that the front office has acquired and that could come in and play these roles. And then this coach who cares not for anybody else's definitions of what should be done or, is Kuth. We are the opposite of Kuth. Kuth has been lost in the dust. Tom Thibodeau's ran over it with his Mack truck. And then the players. And I don't know what's the most impressive thing. The fact that Jalen Brunson finished with 34 points, when the entire Warriors team was keying on him, and he has no chance of being one of my 3-star player or 2-star player of the game tomorrow. No chance because of the other guys that step up and did what they did. Josh Hart, 48-minute triple-double. He ain't getting on the pedestal, guys, or the podium. It's not happening. And it's just when they need a win, when they need to come out and overcome every odd, all the odds, they find a way to do it. I don't know how they do it. I don't know that any other team in the league has this much. I'm like you, Shawn. I'm struggling to find the words. They don't care what they're supposed to do or not do. They don't care. They don't pay attention to it. They don't read anything or hear anything. And this is what they do. They just come through and they perform. And I just had to come and give that little bit of shout out. That's all.
You were so stunned and a loss for words, John, that you were frozen that entire time. That's what this basketball team does to you. So, shout out to the Knicks that all the way from Golden State, they have you at a loss for words and movement.
You could hear me though, right?
We heard the entire thing. Just the sound was great. It just was
great.
Shawn and I listening to it was like a picture of you was up. So
my apologies.
You're good. You're good. Well said. I mean, look, this basketball team, we've all been watching it. 3 of the elder statesmen here at Knicks Film School. They've been watching since the 90s. And I think this team personifies the version of the team that we all fell in love with. The hardworking, no excuses, nitty gritty, asked to do do anything extra, and there's no complaining. No, I was getting to that, but the point is, that's the version of the team that we all fell for. And now we're seeing it with potentially, I mean, look, who knows what happens with Anunoby? That was the news that happened before the game. Who knows what happens with Julius Randle? But my God, what an impressive win in Golden State from top to bottom. Do you want to turn your camera off or leave and come back and see if your connection a lot? Your mug looks great. I like the haircut, the shave. You look good. I'll say that.
I'll try. Hang on.
Okay. So John's going to leave and come back. Shawn, I don't know where to start here because the OG Anunoby injury before the game. You're muted, by the way. The OG Anunoby announcement, I should say, happened around 10 a.m. It was the 11:30 injury report, actually. Yes. So around 11:30, we get the news that he's out for the game on Monday against Golden State. I don't want to say I immediately was like, okay, this changes the vibes for the post game that Shawn and I are going to do. Then Woj goes on NBA Countdown for the 2 primetime games and says that he's going to miss more than just tonight, that his elbow flared up. Mm-hmm. And that leads to this vibe going into the game. Are we about to, I don't know how you felt, Shawn, and I'll bring John back up too. But the way I felt going into the game was you know what, just fight hard. And I think the first place I want to start is that, I mean, look, you can credit Tibbs, you can credit whoever you want for the decision that eventually, Leon Rose for drafting him. And I think we got to start with Deuce McBride personally, because while Isaiah Hartenstein, I think should probably get your 3 stars, John.
Maybe.
Deuce McBride gets the start tonight, plays all but 1 minute, hits a career high 6 threes, scores a career high 29 points, was chasing the greatest shooter of all time around tonight. This was a guy that I didn't know was a rotation player. And I want to give a shout out to and just credit to anybody that was telling us for the last couple of years, give Deuce a look. What about Deuce? Is he a factor in the future? I've lost count, and I'm not able to give specific people credit, but like Shawn, I was excited to see that we were going to get the Deuce lineup, especially how the last Warriors game went. And to think about, usually you think of Deuce, you think of his defense, and he's like a pesky guard. No, his shot making tonight was a large contributor to the game, and just a credit to the kid for how he's earned this spot and earned this. Maybe it's too early to say it. Playoff rotation consideration.
I'll say this. I'll tell a quick story that I told on the post game, on the watch along. I went to Knicks Warriors at Oracle Arena in January 2019 because I wanted to visit Oracle before they blew it up, and that was the game where Klay Thompson scored 40 points on 4 dribbles, 43 points, and he dribbled 4 times.
On 4 dribbles, yeah.
And I'm there in my Kristaps Porzingis jersey, and I'm saying to myself, we are, pun intended, pun not intended, I don't care. We are light years behind this team. Because this is the KD Warriors. They got Boogie on the bench recovering from his Achilles, whatever. Like Benji said in the post games, like they're playing a different sport than we were at the time. And 5 years later, if you had told me, hey, guess what? In 5 years, we're going to be better than them, I would have said you were crazy. And part of the reason we were better than them is that fact that we have built a culture where we do not quit, we fight, we will claw, we will scratch, we will elbow you in the jaw if we have to. And the embodiment of that tonight was Deuce McBride, who again chased around the greatest shooter of all time all night. And I go back to the Cleveland game where he chased around Darius Garland all night and played 47 minutes. And the only reason he didn't play 48 minutes is because Jalen Brunson injured himself 50 seconds in the game and not 5 seconds into the game. In the first quarter, once I realized, I said to myself, you know what? I'm paying attention. I'm keeping an eye on Deuce all night to see how he works with Curry. And there are 2 times where one time he lost him on a switch. One time he didn't get over screening Hart fast enough and gave Steph wide open looks. And I was like, look, I remember saying, because Benji said to me on the watch along, hey, he asked me how I think it was doing. I was like, listen, the defense is always going to be there. It's just a matter of he's going to hit shots. And boy, did he hit shots tonight. And we needed every one of them because, unfortunately, some of the other guys on our team today did not have their best day, but I'm sure we'll get to that. But hey, what can you say about Deuce McBride?
29 points on 13 shot attempts for Deuce McBride tonight. John, anything else before we bid you adieu?
Yeah,
now that you're back.
Last thing on Deuce, and I just flip-flopped it in my head. I think Deuce has to get the 3 star because it's the Deuce McBride game, right? If it's the insert name here game, then you should probably get the 3 stars. I just looked it up. After the 6 threes tonight, he has hit 72 threes on the season. He actually went into tonight tied with Jalen Brunson for highest 3-point percentage on the team. He's obviously surpassed Brunson now. He's again, percentage-wise, best shooter on the Knicks from 3. Brunson, 2.7 threes per 36 minutes. McBride, 2.9 threes per 36 minutes. Grimes, before we got traded, 3 threes per 36 minutes. And actually, the 2.9 will go up because that was before tonight's game. So McBride will pass where Grimes was at in terms of threes per 36 minutes when he was still on this team. I don't say any of that to suggest like Deuce McBride is better than, or in the same conversation as Brunson or even, interesting conversation as far as Grimes goes. But just to back up what both of you guys just said, which is that there were always givens with this player, and it was always about what could he hold up on the other end and keep defenses honest enough. And I thought, and the last thing I'll say, and look, the players win the game, the coach doesn't win the game. I thought it was I think Benji said something to this effect on Twitter. What a vote of confidence by Tibbs to start Deuce and say, we think you are that, because you know what does Tibbs believe in? He believes in defense, but he also believes in size. And to say, we think you are that much better offensively that we are going to swap out Precious's 6'8" for your 6'1", 6'2". Yes, chasing around Curry has a lot to do with that, but also just like we need the offense. And that's where he is as an offensive player at this point in his career. He's answered so many of those questions. I'm so fascinated to see where he goes from here. Because like if you think he could hold up guarding ones and twos and maybe some threes, then it opens up a whole host of possibilities as far as the lineups that you could put him in moving forward. And I don't need to talk about the contract. Contract is my Lord, it's a little above minimum. So
well, this is your point about an organizational win, because like Josh Hart, getting him for Cam Reddish and a protected first.
Yes.
DiVincenzo, getting him on a bargain contract just above the minimum.
Well, sorry, Devo, his stretch in the early third quarter, right at a halftime, they don't win this game without that 5 or so minutes from DiVincenzo. Absolutely massive.
Jalen Brunson. I mean, need I say more about
No.
Probably the best contract in the NBA at the moment, that you've got a superstar on a non-max contract. Isaiah Hartenstein as your backup center. Now he's going to get paid somewhat this summer, and if you believe all reports, he's going to get paid by us. But Isaiah Hartenstein, a plus 26 in 25 minutes tonight, and a clear disruptor. And if you're our beloved EPM, leads the NBA in that statistic. And then you add to the collection with the Knicks these bargains that you get, and it's from top to bottom how they've built this team in finding value within the margins. And it's, I mean, Shawn, to your point about we were light years behind the Warriors back then, and I'm not saying we're like the Warriors are at the end of a dynasty at the moment, so we're not there, but I agree with you in the sense that we've built something, or the Knicks have built something themselves, and it's something we can be proud of, and this win epitomizes that pride you can have in your basketball team. Jonathan Macri, ladies and gentlemen, he's good. He's off to take the night off that he was scheduled for.
Yes.
What's up, Shawn?
Before John, I want Jonathan to hear this. I want to give a big shout out to Tom Thibodeau tonight, because he coached a hell of a game today. Like 2 years ago, we don't get a starting lineup 2 years ago. We don't. Now, partially because Deuce wasn't ready, but he would have went all reliable. I think his substitutions were great. I think he pulled people in. He put people in and out of the game at the right time. I think we were all saying on the playback when Isaiah Hartenstein came out, we're like, oh, it's probably because of the minutes restriction. But like, listen,
had to be.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's some people on the like in the comments saying like, no, maybe should play him 3 more minutes in this half. Maybe play him 3 more minutes in the first half, but we all said like, no, he's safe. He's like, he knows he has 28 minutes to play with, so he's like, I'm with 10 now, 18 on the back end, and he said, you know what, I'm going to try to survive these last 5 minutes with Jericho Sims. Exactly. And guess what? They survived. Now Jericho tried
barely, yeah.
But listen, and there was somebody in the YouTube comments that was just yelling on Tibbs. I'm like, today is not the day for that. And then at the end of the game was like, where you are. So listen, star number 1 star should go to Tom Thibodeau tonight.
Listen, they are.
This is the theory we had from the last game. I don't know if you heard it, John, but like
I did.
The fact that Precious literally ate 12 minutes, like he 8 innings in the first and second quarter, where Sabonis was going off, and it was like, all right, this is a long break for Hartenstein. And then he matched Sabonis minutes in the second half. It seemed like he went with a similar pattern tonight, where it was like, I have 2 centers available. Whoever's playing well, I'm going to save Hartenstein. And he played the final 8 minutes of the game.
There's no coach in the NBA that values winning more, which is kind of a silly thing to say, because obviously all these guys' asses are on the line, whether they want to believe it or not. But like that valuation of winning seeps into everything in this organization. And this is the point that I've always made. Is he the perfect coach? God, no, he's not the perfect coach. But that mentality and that energy seeps into the pores of everything in the organization. And it's, I would argue, a significant part of the turnaround. And I would just note, Deuce McBride, after the game, in the post-game interview, they were asking him, like, what do you attribute this to? And he's like, it starts at the top, and said Tibbs, which I was like, that's, Tibbs' belief in me and everything. So yeah, I think he should get a little bit of a shout out tonight. I think that's fair.
A little one. Get at. Don't
Small.
overstay your welcome. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I really do apologize. I had to crash the party, but that's I just like.
This is your party.
Open invitation. Come
this
on.
Is literally your party. It's like, I'm the crasher.
It's not my point. I'm gonna listen to you guys as I write this newsletter. What a win! Awesome stuff. Thank you for having me on. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Now go write.
You're welcome. You're welcome for coming on your own show.
Yes. Okay. Now that he's gone, Tibbs was awful tonight. No,
that dude was
Are you kidding me? Jericho Sims minutes? What in the world? Josh Hart is going to be injured, and it's
I don't know
why.
Fault. I don't know why Precious Achiuwa played after the first quarter.
We couldn't get Shake Milton minutes. Come on, man.
Dude,
really?
Charlie Brown Jr. could hit open three, dog. Like,
Deuce,
come on,
you're really gonna play Deuce 47 minutes while chasing around the greatest shooter of all time? Come on. All right, we're obviously joking, and I'm at the point where, look, as John just mentioned, there's things to quibble with Tom Thibodeau. I was like, I agree with you. I thought this was an outstandingly well coached game by Tibbs in that it started from the starting five, in that he learned from the last game, and like Benji was pointing it out, they're switching up coverages a lot, whether it was leaving Deuce on an island with Steph when Chris Paul was killing the drop, having Precious come play higher. They were trying to do different things on offense as well when the Knicks would get doubled or blitzed by Draymond. Then the Warriors stopped doing it, and Jalen Brunson kind of cooked Steph Curry for a little bit. I thought it was a well done, well executed game plan that the Knicks did tonight. We need to talk about Jalen Brunson because he failed to get to 40 points tonight. Only had 34 points.
Sound the alarm.
Yeah, he's still the way he's being officiated at the moment is like he had 8 free throws. Now 3 came on 1 3-pointer that was ruled a flagrant where he hit all 3, and it felt like in the old days when they called fouls that this could have been like a 15-16 free throw performance. I wasn't too upset with the officiating today. I do agree Brunson is not getting the same calls he used to, but like we focus so much on Hartenstein, and we're going to give him a shout out, and like what Josh Hart and Deuce McBride did tonight, the consistent thing that happens with this basketball team, Shawn, it's been so for the last 2 years, is a lot of these wins come down to we have Jalen Brunson and the other team doesn't. Mm-hmm. And partially, maybe a large part that we're not giving enough credit to, that was the case tonight. So 34 points, a plus 13, 7 assists as well. Just another great performance from Jalen Brunson.
Listen, what is understood doesn't need to be said. Anyone at this point who still thinks, like at this point, it's not whether he makes All NBA, it's which All NBA team he is on. We've again, I keep reiterating this. This team has been down 3 starters since the Ravens were playing for the AFC Championship game. We're in March. Like, we went from the NFL playoffs to March, the cusp of March Madness, and we've been down 3 starters, and he has kept this team afloat. John said it on Sunday's podcast. Like, why isn't this dude getting more MVP consideration? Like this dude is the fact that this guy is on our team, like, and for so many years, the players that Lance Thomas and Langston Galloway and And not to disparage those players, but there's so many players that came in, Chris Duhon, and we're like, okay, maybe we got something here. What we wanted was what we're getting from Jalen Brunson tonight, and all season, and since the minute he put on a Knick uniform. And something, he'll be the last person to put that uniform on with the number 11 on it at this point if he keeps it up at this rate. So, what else can you say?
I think barring something catastrophic, that's a safe bet to make. I also look, the instigator, Mr. Danishevsky, hit me up the other night with the Melo and Jalen Brunson debate. Me being, I guess, one of the resident Melo stands at Knicks Film School and one of the Melo defenders, that's one of the greatest scorers ever. That it's going to be tough for me to be like, yeah, Jalen Brunson's better. There's a reason I've never pushed back on his importance to this franchise and the culture and the direction, that he's the most important Knicks since Patrick Ewing. And, having him at a bargain really helps at the moment, because it's almost like having a quarterback on a rookie contract that's like also a Pro Bowler, that's also an All-Pro, because now you can splurge on other positions, which is why they went out and got Anunoby, and are going to put some money into this team this summer. And it's why, we'll see what happens if this team ever gets healthy again. But look, I'm done with how high is the ceiling, whatever. I trust this team with the pieces around Jalen Brunson to win any basketball game. That's any playoff series. We'll see what happens if they can get healthy against the Celtics, but I trust them to win any basketball game. I don't go into games thinking they're out. And the days that I do, they usually surprise me and win. Like the Cavs game 2 Sundays ago and this Warriors game. Anytime I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be a loss, they surprise me. And it starts with Jalen Brunson. Another guy, glad to have you back, Isaiah Hartenstein. 6 of 7 tonight, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, a block, 13 points, plus 26 in 25 minutes. And this is one of those games where the single game plus minus absolutely matches the eye test. The Warriors, just everything at the rim was being altered or deflected by him. There were times where they ran the offense through him, whether he maybe didn't get an assist, but he was getting connecting passes, whether it was this 2-man game with Deuce, that Deuce would find someone in the corner as a result. Deuce McBride with 2 assists. I'm literally counting. I know the 2 assists that I'm thinking of. So maybe the 2-man game with Jalen Brunson as well. The Knicks with 29 assists on 44 made field goals tonight. Isaiah Hartenstein at this level of play is a steal for his contract, but my goodness, how good he played tonight and how important he was to that last. I looked at, he's played the final 9:27 of the game, which is where you give credit to Tibbs for being like, let me save these bullets and try to survive the Sims and precious minutes. And he was rewarded by Hartenstein looking able to play those final 9 minutes and largely being an important piece to their win.
Absolutely. When in European soccer, the MVP of the game they call the man of the match, and they usually nominate 4 players. I think it's clear that Deuce is the man of the match tonight, but if it wasn't for him, it will be Isaiah Hartenstein. To your point, just the 2-man game of Brunson, the passing, the rebounding, the rim protection, he was everywhere. Like the Tyson Chandler tip rebounds, like we had no chance about him if we didn't have him tonight. And I keep telling Jeremy, like, I am pissing my pants that somebody's going to come along this summer and say, hey, here's 4 years and $48 million match. And we may have a conundrum on our hands. But you know something? From the days of me watching, certain Knicks from back in the day, like, these are the problems I don't mind having. But that dude was absolutely awesome tonight. Like, I remember when Mitch went down, I said it in the summertime. I said, this team is built around Mitchell Robinson more than people realize. And when he went down, I was like, we might be fucked. And we weren't.
Quite the opposite.
We're not.
Yeah. because he's been able to provide the same rim protection. Josh Hart, when he's on the floor with him, is able to provide the same, like together, that I think they match Mitchell Robinson's rebounding impact. And you could just do more things on the offensive side of the floor when he's involved as a hub, like Sabonis, or you bring him up to the nail and run it from the top of the key. Like it's a different dimension to the offense. And it's why, look, I take Instagram comments for whatever you mean. Mitch is a bit of a troll. But for those who don't know, Mitchell Robinson commented on one of the Knicks pages today and was like, I'd rather come off the bench. There's more opportunity for me there. Well, whether you're joking or not, Mitch, I think you're coming off the bench because there's more opportunity for you there, because it's just make Precious Achiuwa taller, and that's Mitchell Robinson. So it's an outstanding job by Hartenstein tonight. I mean, John mentioned DiVincenzo, 7 of 13, 4 of 8 from 3, 18 points. I thought his shooting tonight was obviously important, especially against his old team.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Hart. So here's where I have a bone to pick with EPM, because Josh Hart did not shoot well tonight. And Josh Hart was 5 of 18, 0 of 6 from 3.
He was 5
and
of 18.
Right, like he clearly hurt them with his shooting. And you know what? He played 48 minutes tonight. He sat down for a couple minutes because they replay reviewed Brunson's three, the 3-point foul and made it a flagrant, right? That's the rest that Josh Hart got tonight. Deuce was allowed to sit for a minute, and then they brought him back in almost immediately. I am not judging Josh Hart on his 5 of 18. He finishes with another triple-double. He has 5 triple-doubles since the All-Star break. I don't know if it's since the All-Star break, but he has 5 triple-doubles this calendar year. And 10, 11, and 11, and every single one of those assists seemed necessary. Every single one of those rebounds seemed necessary. You'd love if he hit more shots. That's just not his game. But what is his game is just, it's the Roy Kent chant from Ted Lasso. He's there. He's every fucking where. Josh Hart. So I can't blame him for having tired legs when he played every minute of this game against a team that likes to run a lot of motion on the defensive end as well.
Championship teams have guys like Josh Hart in their roster. Period. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm not gonna I didn't realize you went 5-18 and 0-6 and 3 tonight, because his so it's funny. I'll give a shout out to Busy, because Busy hates stats. But, he hates stats. He said this. I don't like stats. I don't want.
Oh yeah, no, we know.
But you know something? Today's a day where if you tell me Josh Hart didn't play well because he was 5-18, I'd be like, well, you didn't watch the game, because as a wise man once said, you don't have to shoot well to play well. And he didn't shoot well, but he played well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. He played. I mean, this is the epitome of that quote, and look, would you like him to shoot better? Yes. You'd also, in a game where Anunoby is there, or in a game where you could put him out there with really him and Randall will be an interesting thing when Randall comes back. But, I thought the Warriors applied the leave Josh Hart alone strategy, and Josh never really made him pay. So unfortunately, those were 6 threes that the Knicks couldn't get back. But there's 10 rebounds out there that the Knicks were able to grab because of Josh Hart. And I'm always he was a +7 tonight. Every single time he's on the floor, it seems like there's always a positive impact that he has. And it's why, to Busy's point, look, as I said earlier, the score is a stat. Otherwise, we just watch them play 48 minutes and vote. This is a game where you just kind of look at Josh Hart and see, with your eyes, what he's doing, how much he's running around out there, playing 48 minutes, and the impact that he's had, and obviously contributing to a victory tonight. The other guys, as we mentioned, they survived the Sims minutes. If there was ever a controversial decision by Tibbs, I actually, in the moment, I liked the process where Precious Achiuwa looked really bad in his first stint at the end of the first, beginning of the second. Hart comes back in, largely dominates, and instead, because, again, minutes restriction, Hart is getting taken out at the end of the second. and Jericho Sims comes in instead of Precious. I was actually okay in the moment. Be like, you know what? That's how bad Precious was. This is 2 straight games where the Warriors have largely figured out how to give Precious Chichua problems. And he went to Sims. And Jericho Sims a -5 in 5 minutes. And it felt like it was -15.
It was clear that he didn't have it. Watching how there was a play where, because you noticed really early that when Brunson had the ball, Draymond would just abandon his man, just like float into the paint and float towards him, and to basically crash that. And Brunson and Hartenstein were able to take advantage of that. And then when pressure came in, it was like, oh, we don't have to do any of that stuff. And it was clear. And that's why I give Tibbs an A+, like an A+ for tonight, because 2 years ago, Tibbs would have put Precious back in the game or played him more. Like, Precious only played 18 minutes tonight. And we know
2 years ago, Tibbs, Taj is somewhere coming in the game. Like, that's the thing. Taj Gibson would have found his way into playing 40 minutes here.
That was the and listen, he gave Sims what I like to call the Malachi Flynn Memorial minutes. You know, those 4 to 5 minutes at the end of the half, and we're just like, okay, let's just survive these. Let's just survive these. Like, the league got down to 6, but I was like, even if it gets down to 6, like, Jericho had a couple mishaps, but Jericho actually made a couple plays as well, and we got through it. But then again, that goes to the fabric of this basketball team. So all around.
Yeah,
kudos.
I agree. The last 2 we haven't discussed used to play for the Detroit Pistons. I am past the point of evaluating them on the whole. I'm not even evaluating them game to game, Shawn. I'm not evaluating them like rotation stint to rotation stint, or it's possession to possession, where it's like, oh, that was good. This was good, guys. Good job. And then next, oh, okay, that could have been better. Yes, Bogey, you're allowed to. It's okay that we'll actually not turn the ball over. This Alec, you didn't pass this possession. That's like 75 in a row. I'm at the point where, so they played a combined 31 minutes tonight, and they were a ±0 together. Like, they scored 9 points. They won by 7, and they scored 9 points. I'm at the point where, like, you know what? You didn't lose or win the Detroit minutes, and you were able to get 31 minutes of rest for Brunson and for literally just Brunson, it seemed like. Brunson and DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo played 31 minutes tonight, now that I'm looking at it, which, you know, Josh Hart and McBride play the other minutes. I'm done exhausting any frustration on the Detroit guys. Whatever they contribute, I think Tibbs really knows, like, early on, oh, okay, this is a game to ride them here, give them more than like the token 7 minutes a half, like he did at the end of the Sacramento game. Like, oh, this lineup's working, let me stick with it. And if early on it's like, oh no, I'm gonna get creamed with this lineup because they're not hitting shots, okay, you're not playing the whole second half, which you've also seen him do. So I would be worried if we were still, like, if this was 2 years ago, Alec Burks would have played 35 minutes tonight. We are past that. So I'm pleasantly confident with the usage of the Detroit minute. I love how that's how we're calling them, of the Detroit minutes, and them knowing exactly what to do.
I'll say this. So in the fourth quarter, when Burks and Bogey came in the game, I said, you know what, I think Benji was like, okay, let's see if we can, like, win these minutes. So I actually kept track of the points scored, and we lost those minutes 9-8. And I was like, you know what? That's a win.
I'll take that. I'll take it. Oh, man. So in the 19 games, real quick, games since when you call it Black Saturday, when OG Anunoby went out, like, I guess that the championship Sunday is what you're classifying it as. So they played the Heat on Saturday, and then Sean's Ravens played the Chiefs, and the Lions played the 49ers the next day. And that's what Julius obviously went out the day before, and Anunoby went out the day before. In the 19 games that Anunoby hasn't played, the Knicks are 9-10. Like, treading water through injury is, and this is, again, what you love about this team. because we're going to do a standings update before we wrap up and head over to the Super Chats. The Knicks remain just 2 games behind the Cavs, who won tonight. They gain a game of space on the Indiana Pacers. And if anyone like me was afraid of the Miami Heat, they lost tonight to the Philadelphia 76ers. Jimmy Butler didn't play, but I don't care. They still lost to an undermanned Philadelphia 76ers team. They are 37-31 and not, I want to say locked into the 8th seed, but it seems like if the Knicks can, I mean, who knows about the Anunoby injury? If they could survive Denver, like, my goodness, if they find a way to beat Denver without Anunoby on Thursday. I'm not going to project it. I'm just saying, my goodness, if they do, how the overreact. You think we're overreacting tonight? Like the vibes will be after that. You got 4 lottery teams that are like entrenched in the lottery on the other side of the side of the Denver game. So you got Little Brother on Saturday. You got Detroit, Toronto, and I forget, and San Antonio. Now, San Antonio's like lottery team with an asterisk because they might have a top 5 player ever in waiting. Yeah. I with the caveat that Wemby is insane. But I'm looking at it now, just get through Denver and then the schedule lightens up a little bit for you. I have full trust in this team. They're going to finish at least 500 again for the second year in a row. We haven't been able to say that since
41 wins.
Hashtag 41 wins, baby. So they're 3 wins away from hitting their over. They're 12 wins away from hashtag 53 wins. They're 9 wins away from 50. They got to go 9-5 in their final 14 to get to 50 wins. So just what a basketball team we root for, Shawn.